This is Donnie Gepton coming to you with another training. Today, we're going to be talking about planning, time management, and how to become more efficient and more productive as a recruiter. And what I'm going to share with you is actually a system that I've used through years. I've been through tons of coaching and training around how to become more productive, manage my time better, and ultimately achieve my goals and projects, quicker and sooner. So if you feel like you could, benefit from a better schedule, if you feel like your days are a little bit lost, if you feel like time management is something that you're not strong at, go in the comments below and just let me know if that's something that you're struggling with right now. And if you have any specific questions about time management, go ahead and drop those in the questions or the comments right now. So for me, I realized that I had to really get dialed into my time management once my wife and I got married, and we blended our family, and we went from I went from a single dad with 2 kids, which required plenty of time management, to married with 5 or 4 kids at the time, and now we have 5. So with 5 kids and a lot of moving parts, running my own business, coaching a football team, being productive and having a good time management schedule is crucial to my success. So, I realized this as being an area of opportunity for me a couple of years ago. And like I said, I've invested a lot of money, a lot of time into becoming more productive. So one of the things that, really helps me is realizing that the only thing that is real, the only thing that is important is actually right now in this moment. And a lot of times, and I know I've been guilty of this in the past, is you start to think about what you're going to do tomorrow. And everything I'll be talking about today is how you take action and be in the moment and prepare for winning in today and winning in the moment right now. So the first thing I'm going to share with you that really helps me just in terms of productivity and time management overall is having a solid morning routine. Now, I'm not a believer that there's a right morning routine and a wrong morning routine. I think there's a lot of people out there that give advice, and that advice is that it's only this way. And I've found, working with myself and working in coaching hundreds of clients, is everybody's different. Everybody has a unique way that they operate. And, the whole purpose of this training is, and what we're calling it, is building power in your day. And what I find is a lot of people just react to their day, and they don't set intention, and they wake up in the morning and then they just think that they're going to go and dial themselves in. And we're humans. We are not robots. And so we have to do things to program our mind and create energy and create power. So like I said, the routine for me, morning routine, is really where it all starts. So the first thing I do right when I wake up is I hydrate myself. As basic as that sound, we tend to get a little dehydrated as we sleep. So I get some good water back into my system as soon as I wake up, get that, oil up the brain, if you will. And then I get right into a meditation. I really like a good solid meditation in the morning. For me, it really kind of calms my nerves. I get work anxiety sometimes and start to build a list of all the things that I want to get done. And so what I found to be really helpful for me is just to meditate. Calm app. If you've never heard of Calm, you can go to download the Calm app. It's free. They do a free 10-minute meditation every single day. And it's a great way to start the morning. Then from there, I get into journaling. And journaling has become really powerful for me. I'm journaling about all the things that are important to me. I'm journaling about my goals. I'm journaling about my family. And then I'm going to dig into this, in more detail here soon. And I also journal into my critical musts. And like I said, we'll talk about that. But journaling, actually, just as a little side thing right now, with all the craziness that's going on in the world, no matter what your beliefs are or where you're at in the world, I found journaling to be incredibly therapeutic right now, going through, all this different stuff, and just getting that stuff and putting pen to paper is incredibly valuable. But, going back into the morning routine specifically, I'll wake up, I'll meditate, I'll journal. I usually try to incorporate some movement. Don't overthink the whole movement thing. It doesn't mean a full on exercise. It could be just going and run into your block and back, but just moving to get the blood going, get the blood flowing. I do a lot of rubber band workouts and things like that, and do walks in the morning with my dog. That's usually what I'm doing. And then I always set my intentions, for my day. And that comes usually as a part of my journaling. And one of the things I've incorporated now is doing a little bit of reading, in my morning, because reading usually for me, it creates some creativity in my brain and helps me with, some of the content creation that I want to do that day, by just doing some journaling. Now, what I would suggest for you is to figure out like what's going to be a win for you in the morning, what's going to help you slow your mind down, what's going to help you get intention, what's going to help you get energy and power so that you can go conquer your day, and really start to craft out what you want your day to actually look like. So whatever your morning routine, and the reason I say it, I don't think that there's a right or wrong way, is because you might be like, hey, Donnie, I'm not a journaling guy. I don't want to journal, but every morning I say affirmations in the mirror, and that's what's powerful for me. Awesome. Do that. Right. I don't really like to meditate. I'm more into traditional, I'm religious and I'm more into, traditional prayer. Cool. Do that. Right. But the point is having some sort of routine, some sort of regimen that you're doing every single morning. And the whole purpose of that, on another level, is that when you do that routine, you're actually building momentum. You've created a win by accomplishing your routine. And so that's for me, what I do every single morning. I don't want to say every single morning, like don't have my days where I'm off. Of course I do, but for the most part, that's exactly how I'm going to wake up. I'm going to wake up, I'm going to hydrate, I'm going to meditate, I'm going to journal, I'm going to incorporate some movement, probably do a little bit of reading. And then I set my intentions for the day. So what I want to get into now is what I call my 3 critical musts training. Okay. And this is really, if you can get this will drastically improve your productivity, and it'll help you accomplish your goals that much faster. So the idea here is to be working on, 3 critical rocks at all times. And you can actually do this and build this to where, you have 3 rocks for the year. Like you could go out and set your plan for the year, and what are the 3 big things that you want to accomplish. And then from there, you can reverse engineer that into quarterly rocks, monthly rocks, and weekly rocks. So, for example, one of the rocks that I'm working on right now is I'm really working hard on some YouTube advertisement. And so YouTube advertisement, there's a lot of, the end goal is to have a YouTube ad launched, but there's a lot of little tasks in between that I can be doing to help me break that down and be more productive. So for example, there's me, going through my own training and looking at, how I want to build this YouTube ad. Then there's me actually building the YouTube ad. Then there's me editing it. Then there's me working on conversions on YouTube. So I can take these and make each one of those little parts of the project into daily tasks. So usually what we do is, if we're just going to kind of break this down and go, every Sunday for me, I usually go and I write my 3 big goals for the week. And the reason I want to do that is so I can go into the week having a lot of intention and a lot of strategy. And then once I have my 3 goals for the week, then what I'll do, and I'll even do some of this on Sundays, I'll start to look at how I'm going to break down to accomplish each of those goals. And what that's going to look like in terms of me achieving this on a day-by-day basis. Keep in mind that the only moment that we have to take action is right now. There is no tomorrow, right? So what I would do in my journaling is I would, on a weekly basis, let's say I carved out my 3 for the week. Then what I'm going to do on Monday is I'm going to review my weekly targets, and I'm going to actually determine the most 3 critical tasks that I must do to move towards that weekly target. Right. And so yesterday, or for this week, for example, the YouTube ads is one that's a big part. So on Monday, what I did for my YouTube ads is I actually wrote the script for my ad. And then on Tuesday, what I did is I actually recorded that video. Now here we are on Wednesday, and I'll be able to upload that video and actually either launch that ad today or tomorrow. The goal is to launch it today. That is one of my critical musts today, is to actually launch this YouTube ad. You can see that I've taken the big overall project that I'm working on, and then I can chunk those things out. Right. So, sometimes in your critical must, they're going to be projects, things that you're working on the business, and then there's going to be things that you're going to working in the business. Right. So, when you're looking at your business, it's what are the most critical tasks that you must do right now to move you towards your weekly goals. Right. So maybe you're in the season with your business and you're like, Donnie, I'm slammed, and I just need to spend the majority of my time, recruiting and finding candidates to fill these roles. Great. Okay. So if we know that one of our targets for this week is to, for example, and get specific with your goals, it's, one of your targets is that, hey, I want to submit 3 candidates this week. Awesome. So now reverse engineer that and break down what you're going to do on Monday to interact and engage with those candidates. When are you going to do on Tuesday to, schedule those candidates into that interview? and things like that, right? So you start to break up your projects and you're always working on your three critical musts. Okay. Now, the reason why we want to do three critical musts, we're going to do way more than three things in a day. But what we're trying to do is find this balance to where we're pushing ourselves, but we're also creating wins. So I don't want, for example, could I theoretically write my script, record my video, and launch a YouTube ad in a day? Yeah, I've done it before. But if I put that big of a task out in front of me, and then life and work happens and I don't achieve it, then, subconsciously we're starting to, train our brain not to win. And keep in mind, we're building power so we can win the day, right? So that's the whole purpose is finding this balance to challenge ourselves, but also making sure that we're going to have some wins along the way. Again, the three critical musts these are the three critical things that I must do to move my business forward. You're probably going to do another additional 15 things throughout that day. But this is something that's critical for your business, right? And when people usually come up and say, oh, Donnie, I don't have enough time, I'm swamped. Really, if you actually use a strategy like this, you can always find time for the special projects and things you want done just by being disciplined. So, you can't tell me that you can't carve out 60 minutes in one of your days, that you can't find an extra 60 minutes to work on a special project to move yourself forward. And that's exactly what this would help you do. So the whole concept, though, is, we're going to take the time. I include this again in my morning routine where I'm going to go down, I'm going to write my three critical musts from the day and actually write them down. I write them down in a journal. And then from there, when I get into my office, I'll usually write them down on my whiteboard. I'd highly recommend you do that. So then what that allows you to do is it allows you to check in on your critical musts. And you want to check in on your critical musts, a couple of times a day to make sure that you're achieving those things. It's easy for you to go ahead and journal it out in the morning. Hey, here's the three things that I want to accomplish today. Your day goes on, bullets start flying, and you don't accomplish any of them, or maybe you accomplish one of the three. But if I have them constantly in front of me, so my three today is one is to host this live training. That was one of my three critical musts, so I'm in action in the moment on that right now. Two is to launch that YouTube ad that I was talking about, and three is to do a little bit of accounting and finance for my business, just making sure I'm doing some of my bookkeeping stuff for my business. So those are my three critical musts on the day. What I've also done today already is I've written an article. I've supported my clients with feedback. Let's see, I think those are the main couple other tasks that I've done in addition to preparing for this training that we have right here. Right. And so I'm just trying to make that point so you understand it's not about just accomplishing three things. It's three critical things, writing them down, reviewing them throughout the day to remind yourself of what you're getting done, and then holding yourself accountable to not leaving your office until those three things are done. And the easiest way to do that is actually to schedule these in your day. And that's really the most key component, okay, is to schedule these activities, actually put them on your calendar. So for me, I actually use my calendar on my phone. And so if you were actually, I could show you a screenshot, but right now, this is time block number one. Time block number two for the YouTube ads is coming up. And then time block number three for the accounting happens at 2:00. So I have these things actually calendared as a part of my day. I'm committed to myself just as much as I'd be committed to a client or a candidate showing up on a phone call. I'm committed to my time as well. So I would really challenge you, if you're not committing and you're not scheduling your own personal tasks for your business, to put those on your calendar. It'll be incredibly powerful for you. And again, everything that we're talking about here is to help you move forward faster. But I can tell you that you will not have as much success with this if you just write it down, journal it, and put your journal away for the day. And if you don't put it on a calendar, if you don't review it, it's easy to forget about, what you're doing here. But if you do put it on a calendar, 1:00 comes up, boom, you hold yourself accountable to making sure you get that task done in that time. And, the bottom line is, do not stop your day until your three critical musts are done. And, I've been doing this for years and years, and it's incredibly, incredibly effective. And it's helped me move my business forward incredibly fast. And like I said, it helps me manage my busy life and make sure that I can be all of the things that I want to be: a successful entrepreneur, a successful husband, and a successful dad, and a successful member of my community. And so, a lot of people ask me, like, how do you run your business and run a successful business the way that you're running it? You obviously have a big family. I don't know how you do it with a big family. And then, I also am a head coach of a youth football team. Well, the only way I'm able to get these things done is by being intentional with my days, knocking down my three critical musts. And, that allows for me to be successful in all of those things, not just have a hand in those things. So I'd be curious now, go ahead and go in the comments. Let me know if you have any questions about this strategy and how to claim your three critical musts each and every day. One of the things that I will say is, you want to make sure, one of the things that really helps me is to make sure that I'm doing some of my most difficult tasks first thing in the morning. And again, this isn't the formula for everybody, but I've found it to be a very successful formula for myself. And honestly, it's a successful formula for most other people, because when we wake up in the morning, that's typically when we have the most energy. It's usually when our brain and mind is most creative. And, when we're working on, heavier projects, if I just schedule those and knock those out first thing in the morning, one, we're making sure that the most important things are getting done. Two, we're knocking some things off of our to-do list and we're already feeling like we're winning. So we're building power in our day. We're building some momentum in our day. And three, I don't know about you, but usually, once the afternoon hits, I'm not saying this all the time, but I'm not usually trying to take on some big brand new project or go down some rabbit hole. That's just the way I work. I work great in the morning, way more efficient in the morning, way more productive in the morning. And so for you, you may be the same exact way, or you might be like, hey, Donnie, I'm actually really creative. Like at the end of the day, I get a lot of, creativity and a lot of ideas throughout the day that, I think would help. And I want to actually schedule this time at 4:00 in the afternoon. Awesome. And again, I'm not a believer that there's always a right or wrong way to do things. I believe that humans are unique and we need to customize things and figure out things that work for our schedule. And if you really actually view yourself as a test, you can test your lifestyle. Yeah, you can, let's say hypothetically, if you wake up at 7:00 every morning, you could test waking up at 6 and see if you perform better. But waking up at 6 and incorporating some of the activities that I laid out for you, or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe you're waking up at 7 and maybe an hour more of sleep, and you waking up at 8 is more productive. I don't know, but that's your job to figure out, is what is going to help you be more productive, and be playful with this whole thing. There's no right or wrong way to do it. The right way is the way that works well for you. So, let me know if you guys have any questions. I appreciate you guys being here live with me today. Looks like we are close to being wrapped up. Thank you, Miguel. So what's the one thing that's helped the most, Donnie? I think the thing that's helped the most, Adrian, for me is just those being intentional, not just showing up in my day and letting my day run me. And, as I've gotten more advanced in this, like I have themes in my day. So, Wednesdays for me are big content creation theme days. I usually run these live videos. I'm usually creating other content in between, and where Tuesday for me, for example, the theme is I usually try to get, some sales calls going on Tuesdays and try to build the energy for, closing on Tuesdays, if you will. So, I think the biggest thing is just being intentional and then holding myself accountable to, making sure that I show up and actually execute on those actions. But that's a great question, Adrian. Hopefully that helps. But yeah, having a good routine in the morning to build in your power, then getting your critical musts going. And then, like I said, as you start to slay down each one of those critical musts, then we're building power. Once you slay that last critical must, you've won the day. So thank you guys for hanging with me. Hopefully this training was powerful. If you're ever interested in formal lead generation, online marketing, and personal branding training, reach out to me, Donnie Gupton. You can reach out to me at donnie@donniegupton.com. Drop a comment in this below this video, or send me a note here on Facebook. We can set up a time to talk and see how we can rapidly grow your recruiting business. Have a great rest of your week. Talk soon.